Stink, I miss you.
I miss you too. What you doing?
Nothing, bored. You don't like him?
No, he's in my motherfucking room.
Cause you was being mean. He felt your energy.
Man, I don't even play. I fly all the way to LA. Is that?
You ain't gonna touch him. You ain't gonna with an inch of him. Hold on, let me show you Tootie.
I used to forget, like, damn, I really got little people.
Yeah, so you gotta just.
So lately, I just been with my kids a lot. So now it's just like I'm looking at my daughters. They listening to I'm a sad. I'm like, oh, they got it. Yeah. Hell no, Meg got it.
They come out the room talking about.
With Young Thug finally released from jail in the YSL RICO trial, he spoke about his feelings on Gunna taking his early plea deal out of the YSL case. However, it will result in Thug getting in trouble by the law. As Young Thug tweeted, "Wham, let's drop one on these rats Peter," with the name Wham referring to rapper Lil Baby, as Lil Baby's been firm on dissing Gunna for snitching out of the YSL trial early. Lil Baby responded to Young Thug on Instagram saying, "We should," but this would get the attention of DJ Academics. Academics speaks on Young Thug getting released and says the stipulations that he's got are a setup for the court to try to put Young Thug back in jail, explaining it's all a setup for Thug to eventually fail and go to prison for 20 years.
I know some of his fans think he beat the case. He definitely didn't beat the case. Beat the case means you got no stipulations. The Young Thug thing is a win, but it's also a huge setup. If you gonna tell me that they're gonna monitor him on a probationary basis for 15 years, can't be in Atlanta, can't communicate with co-defendants or gang members, he can't rap about, he can't promote any music that has to do with what they believe is gang activity. But he's always gonna talk about him and his doing his thing. They might consider that gang activity. He might be like, yo, me is like, yo, we going to the park getting lit. We going to the club getting lit. They might be like, oh no, you talking about a gang. So, we celebrating right now because I think we could all see, if you follow that trial at all, whether you're a fan of Thug or not, you can see the pain, you can see this was going through it. Like, he gained a lot of weight. Everybody knows Thug was not that weight, so we happy he got out, but we definitely got to be very cognizant of how it's going to play out.
However, this would end up getting the attention of the famous rap lawyer who explains that this is an amazing deal for Thug.
Young Thug absolutely won that plea deal for so many reasons. One, the prosecution got none of what they wanted when you think about what the charges were and what actually got pled to. And two, he saved himself some major civil liability. Let me break that down. So first off, prosecution had charged this man with 8 counts. 2 of them were very serious. 2 of them were basically saying that for years you were the leader of a criminal gang that committed murders and all types of acts all over the city of Atlanta. Those 2 charges Young Thug did not plead guilty to. Had he pled guilty to those, he would have gotten serious time, and all the victims of all of this alleged criminal street gang activity, including the families of could have sued him civilly in court and said, hey, this man pled guilty to doing it. Now he's got to pay me. He pled nolo contendere. The judge accepted that plea. The prosecution said, Judge, you should not allow a nolo contendere plea on those 2 counts. The judge said, I am going to allow it.
However, it is true that if Young Thug messes up his probation, he will be going to prison for 20 years. But Young Thug proved academics wrong by going live on Instagram, showing his fans he's allowed on.
I'm live. I just jumped on here to let you know that yes, a goat can go live. Whoa! What's up? Who up right now? What's up? Who up right now?
As Thug later described the real reason he was even released from jail, which was by his emotional speech in court that made the judge cry. Young Thug would describe to the judge and jury the type of man he is.
Anything that you want to say?
Yes, ma'am. I take full responsibility for, my crimes or my charges. I want to say sorry to my family, my mom. My mom got 11 kids. I can't say all their names, my managers, my kids that's not here. Really everybody that got something to do with this situation, I want to say sorry for just having so much time invested into this, and I am a smart guy, I am a good guy, and I really got a good heart, I find myself in a lot of stuff because I was just nice or cool, you know, and I understand that you can't be that way when you reach a certain height because it could end bad.
Young Thug would even continue further on with his speech, making everyone cry in the room, accepting his wrongs and promising to be a better person.
I hope that you allow me to go home today and just trust in me to just do the right thing and never see you again unless it's at a, you know, bar in the future or something. Just out of this type of situation, I promise you I won't ever be in this type of situation again. I'm going away. I've learned from my mistakes. You know, I come from nothing and I've made something and I didn't take full advantage of it. I'm sorry. Through these last 2.5 years of my life, you are really, truly, honestly, the best thing that has happened to me because you made everything fair for me and everybody involved on both sides, you know. I'm sorry to the sheriff, you know, everybody for just having to put extra time in. I know y'all got paid more money, but I'm sorry for y'all having to put this extra time in to be away from y'all family, you know, and I just hope that.
Then ending off his speech by speaking about what he's done for the community, by performing free concerts and donating the millions of dollars it generated to underdeveloped communities and schools.
You find it in your heart to allow me to go home and be with my family and just do better as a person. I know what I bring to the table. I know what I am. I know the heights I've reached. I know the impact I got on people, period, in the community, you know, all people. I learned that late, like these past 2 or 3 years of my life, I kind of learned that late, and maybe it was because I was, you know, probably on or anything, I don't know, but I have came to my senses and I understand what I mean to this world. But I am a good guy, you know. I don't mind doing stuff like, you know, like free shows, and I always did that, you know. I did free shows and gave it to single parents, millions of dollars. You know, I made $1.8 million on a free show, and I gave it all to single parent charity, and I did.
However, the moments leading up to Thug's release from jail made some rappers believe he took a plea deal that seems fishy. It started with the moments when Young Thug walked to the stand to accept the plea deal.
Mr. Steele, Mr. Adams, Mr. Williams, where are we? Ready to go forward? All right. Y'all coming up here to the podium. All right, Sergeant, can you swear in Mr. Williams?
Raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony you give to the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. That's your name, first and last. You might can't tell first and last. Jeffrey Williams.
Jeffrey Williams, Jeffrey Williams.
With Young Thug accepting his fate and allowing to have a plea deal determine his future. It would be announced the state is recommending Young Thug is sentenced to 45 years with 25 to serve.
And Mr. Williams, were you aware of the state's previous offer that was turned down prior to your making this non-negotiated plea?
Yes.
All right. And Your Honor, at this time, the state is making a recommendation of 45 years with 25 to serve in custody, followed by 20 on probation, subject to the special requirements of 1615 the gang statute.
The state's first offer was ridiculous, and Brian Steele wasn't having it. Sure, he would have been home today, but he would have had to snitch against the remaining YSL members in the case. As the report reads, he could have come home today if he accepted to the previous offer, but he did not agree to the special conditions.
Would have been released today for 15 years on probation. If he successfully completes that probation, then he would not have to go to custody. If he did not, he'd face probation revocation as well as 23 years, as a court said, backloaded in the Georgia prison system but we could not come to terms on all the conditions that the district attorney was insisting upon.
Okay.
However, Young Thug and his lawyers wanted to roll the dice on Young Thug's future, not accepting the initial plea deal that was offered. We then saw Brian Steele announce to the courtroom what Young Thug is willing to accept. As it reports, Thug pleads no contest to the RICO count and the gang leader count. The rest he pleads guilty.
One, which is the racketeering conspiracy count, Mr. Williams is tendering a plea under nolo contendere. As to count 56, which is participation in a criminal street gang activity as being a leader or a supervisor or organizer, Mr. Williams is also tendering a plea to this honorable court as under nolo contendere. The balance of the counts, so he is tendering a guilty plea.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am.
would the court like to hear from the state or not?
About the NOLO issues?
Yes.
Sure.
Your Honor, the state asked that the court not accept a NOLO plea and require either a guilty plea or a not guilty plea as to these charges.
All right. I'm going to permit a NOLO plea as to counts 1 and 56.
All right.
As Young Thug announced himself that he needs to take a plea deal, the trial wasn't even supposed to end, but it was sadly announced. Young Thug's lawyer says Thug insisted on this because he couldn't handle 3 more months of his kids hurting if there was a chance he could come home today. His lawyer told him they were winning the trial and was okay with either decision.
For almost 2 years since we did our jury selection initiation on January 4th, 2023. Mr. Williams been sitting in a jail since May 9th, 2022. This is 2.5 years waiting for the conclusion of the state's case and a verdict from the jury, and that's why he is tendering this plea. I'm telling the court this, and the court knows when you came out the first time, it's very hard for Mr. Williams. I am not supportive of what we're doing right now. I'm not against it. But I told Mr. Williams, you okay with me saying this? Yes. I told Mr. Williams that I think we're winning the trial and we should go to verdict. But he told me I can't wait another 3 months if there is any possibility I could go home because I have children that are hurting.
The judge knew Young Thug was emotional here. This is when the judge finally had her verdict on Young Thug's future and sentenced him.
So essentially, the total sentence is 40 years to serve the first 5 years in prison, but commuted to the time that you have already served, followed by 15 years on probation, followed then by the backloaded 20 years, which can be served in custody and will be served in custody if you are not successful on your probation. If you are successful in completing your 15 years probation, that will be commuted to time served.
With it being announced that Young Thug was released from jail, everyone in the courtroom was so happy. This then led to a post-game interview with Young Thug's lawyer about how Thug feels now.
As far as how Jeffrey's feeling now, he knows my feelings, which I'm not going to reveal for attorney-client privilege, but this is not the same as a not guilty verdict. That should have been ran. But nobody here wakes up every day on a concrete floor that they're calling his bed, gets up at 4:15, gets shackled at his feet, his waist, and his hands, comes to the Fulton County Courthouse to be on concrete, eating out of a bag. Doritos is his meal of choice. And then coming to a courtroom and sit there with a leg chain on him every single day and hear lie after lie. So for Jeffrey, go home today and not have another 90 days or 120 days of it, he is very happy.
This got the attention of rappers in the industry. Even 4-2 Doug explained it feels like someone has it out for Young Thug and they want him forever.
Have you been tapped into the YSL case at all, and how do you think that's been?
I've been trying to watch a little bit.
Do you think it's being mishandled?
I think it should have been dismissed. The shit with the judge that just happened was
that just happened.
Crazy, like trying to send his lawyer to jail. From the outside looking in, it's looking like they got something against him.
Even Lil Baby tweeted, "Thug bout to come home for life. This madness needs to end today." But it also felt similar to what Boosie said about YNW Melly. When the feds want you, they just try to find ways to keep you. However, this time they couldn't keep him.
Now they're putting even more charges on him, and then
when they want you, they want you. I knew they wanted him bad when they waited for that law to get passed. They waited all the way.
Penalty.
So it'd be 8-4.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know, they waited all the way till that law got passed to take him to trial.
Yeah, he was in jail for what, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah. They could have been took you to trial.
You're right.
They waited till that law got passed and took him to trial a couple months later. When they want you, man. I just don't see how he didn't get a bond after a fucking mistrial.
Yeah.
That made me like, God damn.
Yeah.
Like, after a mistrial, that doesn't happen, really.